to do at all. So I really think the pressure is on them as we jump into Champ Select to get this game going. Yep. They need a win.
Yes, they absolutely do here in Beşiktaş. Can they continue riding some momentum? And both teams, honestly, can they pick themselves off yesterday's losses and find a win here in a hard matchup for both teams? The bans, though, are finished now for the Turkish side. Azir, Kalista, and Morgana are their three choices. And Lulu, Siva, Hecarim finally taken away again.
Yeah, so INTZ get rid of Hecarim again, and we'll have to see how that one works out for them. 2 AD carry bans, especially Siva being one of them, is a little bit strange to me, but Nadia's definitely shown proficiency on that. I have to see how that works out, but Gragas is the first hover coming through, and I wouldn't be surprised if Diocles picked that up again.
No, I feel like Gragas has replaced Setlani as the best first pick on this patch, and we've seen pretty much every jungler in this tournament go straight to it, and that's exactly what Beşiktaş pick.
Yeah, so they're willing to go for it, Beşiktaş. You see, that was the mid-game focused lineup that ran and absolutely tore apart Chiefs in the last game. See whether Revolta goes towards something like a Lee Sin, some early aggression. We called for it. See if you can bully that Gragas around. Lee Sin, definitely one of the junglers that can do that.
Yeah, I would love this pick, honestly. It's been a while since we've seen Lee Sin, to be honest. He hasn't seen that much play in the recent patches, but still does the same thing Lee Sin as always does. You mentioned Elise, who has picked up some popularity in various regions. She's certainly good at being aggressive, but if you want an aggressive jungler, you can't look past someone like Lee Sin. But instead, INTZ are going to mix it up. It's LeBlanc, Lucian is their first two picks.
Yeah, so Lucian picked up from Macau. I think that was one of his most played champions actually coming into this, so not surprising to see that go through. Energy once again on a, no, sorry, it's not Energy, it's Tokka's coming through on a mid-game assassin. See if Energy is willing to run the Ahri into that one.
Yeah, maybe going to take up the Orianna. That's been the popular counter pick in this matchup, but it's nice to see some of the assassins getting a bit more respect here again. These teams wanting to do a bit more snowballing. If you take control of a mid-game when both teams have scaling options, all of a sudden, you have such a big lead.
Yeah, exactly right, and that's the thing about the current League of Legends system. It's great picking a scaling option, but nothing beats out 5th Dragon. You can have the most mid-game centric comp. You get 5th Dragon at the 36-minute mark, all of a sudden your late game is ridiculously good.
Yeah, and that's been such a great thing. It's why so much has opened up in recent patches, and it's been great to see. But I did call for both teams to get really hard and heavy in the mid-game and battle, and I think that's what we're going to have here, because Thresh and Corki are the next two picks.
Yeah, that's a really brave Corki pickup, because top jungle and mid all not chosen yet, and they can just commit to 3 super tanks, and all of a sudden, it's going to be impossible to force them out. But it's not going to be the case. Revolta actually locked in the Lee Sin, so that's going to be at least one squishy. And they're going to have a Nautilus for Jockster.
Yep, Corki, now that Valkyrie does not look like your best defensive option with the Nautilus support likely coming through there as well. Do love the Lee Sin there for Revolta, and Corki is a bit weird to me. It might be mid Corki, don't forget that's actually the other option for Energy here, and given the potential matchup of Lucian, that wouldn't surprise me too much.
Yeah, potentially that one could definitely come through there. We've seen some crazy mid Corki builds as well, like Trinity Force into Luden's Echo, into some Spell Pen, and just big one people to half health. So it definitely is something that Energy could pick up, as we see some real strange hovers coming through.
These are some hovers here coming through for Beşiktaş, but trying to keep INTZ guessing, of course, haven't quite committed to any of these champions. Curious to see if they do want to bring Corki into the bottom side. At the moment, it looks like they might, given the Energy, I think, is considering his Ahri at least, but we'll see what they want to do. They've got only 6 more seconds now to decide the rest of their champion picks, and instead they could have had some options, maybe run some double AD, but they are going to go for team fight, it looks like here. Nara and Ahri are their last 2 picks.
Yeah, so they've actually got really good pick potential here coming through. The best thing about Thresh Ahri is that they're able to grab people, solo target, as they come into Fog of War and lock them up for a reasonably long time. But then they follow extremely well. So if you only burst to about 75% health, that's fine, because Ahri, she can chase for days. Thresh follows you after that death sentence and is able to flay you back. So as far as pick compositions go, they've put together a relatively nice, balanced team comp. I think that there is a little bit of danger. I was going to say, if a huge mega tank comes in a top lane, I was actually looking at something like a Mondo, but hey, Maokai fits that MO really well as well. They're in trouble now that Maokai just gets unkillable.
Yeah, I think Maokai is excellent against the likes of Corki Ahri. We started seeing him mostly as a response to LeBlanc, actually, again. These powerful basically burst-oriented champions, and Corki Ahri still fulfill that. We actually Probably shouldn't mention it because, of course, they might switch it up here as well. And that is an odd switch back there for INTZ, but Yang is going to take Rumble as his last one.
Yeah, that is actually crazy for me coming through there because they are running a zero-tank lineup now pretty much unless Nautilus gets ahead because Lee Sin doesn't fulfill the role as a primary tank at all at the moment. He's not able to get as much work done as he would like in the late game. Just doesn't scale up as well with health items as other people do. Doesn't really have that health modifier. So we'll have to see exactly how Revolta builds. Does he go for the Cinder Hog? Is he happy to stay with the Warriors in chance? But that's a huge mid game. This game goes past 33, 34 minutes for INTZ. They're in a lot of trouble if Beşiktaş just running over the top of them.
And that's weird as well because we did expect some sort of mid-game brawling, but at least Beşiktaş do have, I guess, insurance in some ways. Both Na and Gragas can get very tanky with Cinderhawk, at least for Gragas here, and in towards the late game will just be very hard to remove with all of your burst. I think INTZ thought that they might try and match that with Maokai, but apparently they'd rather make like almost double down on the mid game and go all in at 20-25 minutes because Rumble very aggressive but will certainly fall away, especially to the big tanks.
Yeah, Rumble is really aggressive and we'll have to see how far Yang can get him ahead because of course he does a lot of damage throughout the mid game. One equalizer can rip this game apart because it's going to be extremely difficult for Gragas to run over the top of that one if he doesn't use a perfect body slam. But I guess Lucian's also an okay tank buster, so I'm unsure of how this pick ban's gone. It's going to be very interesting how these teams execute in the mid game.
I mean, I think for me, the most interesting thing is these mid laners here. We kind of came into the tournament, we're told the energy was, a bit more of a utility player, likes, the likes of Lulu and these more farm-heavy wave clear champions. And his last few games has been, what, Ari now just going off in the mid lane. And LeBlanc just poked her head back up in that, yeah, I'm still probably the best assassin in the game.
Yeah, exactly right. LeBlanc with the short cooldowns, being able to get multiple spell rotations in, especially with an item like Luden's Echo, becomes extremely potent in taking out the AD carry. And because people are running 2 damage threats, if you can get rid of one of those damage threats, pretty much win the team fight.
Yeah, you absolutely can. But we are about to get onto the Rift here for our next game between Beşiktaş and INTZ. And here we are. A big game here for both teams in Spawn. I don't know exactly what's going to happen as we do have a pause. But I can tell you that once we get unpaused, there will be blood.
Yeah, there certainly will be. I like that you say you don't know what's going to happen. Pause happens. That was a little bit unfortunate there. No control over that one. But yeah, I definitely agree. I think that this will be a very aggressive early game because Lee Sin has to get a lot done. So on the side of INTZ, if they're not able to get anything going through their Lee Sin pick, it's a wasted pick. So in the end, he's going to have to be a huge facilitator.
Yeah, I'd actually forgotten about Lee Sin, but yeah, let's definitely move back to the jungle because we've seen, again, so much Gragas be successful here in the tournament. And we kind of said you can get aggressive on these tank junglers. Sejuani was consistently getting picked on when she was a more popular pick and has certainly dropped away, mainly just for Gragas, who's kind of a slightly safer version of Sejuani that does very similar things, but maybe not quite as much hard to see, especially on the engage front. Lee Sin is a champion that's always been able to pick on these slower junglers. Mumu classically got picked on by Lee Sin constantly when he was a more popular jungler. And I think the theory definitely stands here for Revolta. It's just a question of can he execute in the early game and really pick on the Gragas?
Yeah, so you have to go one of 2 ways with Lee Sin. You either say, I'm going to grab my jungle as quick as possible because he'll jungle quicker than the Gragas, and then say, I'm going to just camp lanes and go heavy ganking style and force Gragas to come to me. Or he can go the other way and say, everyone push your lanes, I'm just going to try and kill Gragas in his own jungle. So I want to see what Revolta goes with. Theocles showed that he's very good on Gragas. I think that the difference between Gragas and Sejuani, if we just hit on those 2 champions quickly and why Sejuani's fallen off, is because at the end of the day, Sejuani is fantastic when she gets a lot of items, the scaling health, and then does damage. Doesn't do the damage off the percentage health of the opposition, does it off her own. So she's very item reliant, and we've seen historically that it's bad to be item reliant as a jungler. Gragas, on the other hand, he's level reliant. So that means he can go like things like the Sightstone into a Locket, very team build. As long as he gets his CDR in there and is able to get multiple spell reels out, has very good CC, doesn't have the cooldown requirements that a Sejuani does, and then his W brings all the damage for him. So it's just a little bit of a difference. Sejuani needing a lot of items versus Gragas, who just needs the level and some CDR.
Yeah, I mean, Gragas certainly gets tanky, but for me, I think it was you actually that mentioned it to me that he's almost like Lee Sin as far as like reliance and resourcefulness goes, sorry. He does need some more items, of course. We've seen Cinderhawk be popular and a lot slower and maybe a bit less aggressive, but the amount of stuff that Gragas can do just with levels, just from level 6 onwards, or even before that in the early levels, is astonishing to me.
Yeah, so when I first saw Jungle Gragas, it was ages ago. It was in the EU Challenger, and they were using it to hook it up with a Yasuo, and I was like, what does this champion do? And what I put it down to is he kind of is like Lee Sin, but I used to call him Good Lee Sin, because he doesn't have to go into the team to get his barrel off. And it's a real good initiation because you can split a team, get someone into your team like a Lee Sin kick, but then get the rest of their team away from them if it's very well placed. Also a very good disengage tool under turrets. When you're sieging, you just walk up and you just throw your barrel and all of a sudden everyone's away from the turret, so you can siege it down with these shorter range AD carries. But he's got the percentage health damage, which Lee Sin has on his Q. He's got some slow. He's got that knock up that we spoke of. So he's very similar in kit-wise to Lee Sin. Of course, one's AD, one's magic, and one's a lot more aggressive in the early game. One's more mid-game reliant. But they do similar roles within a team composition.
So I guess the question then is, who's the better Lee Sin? Because that's effectively the matchup. It's Lee Sin versus Good Lee Sin.
Yeah, exactly right. And as I said, before level 6, Lee Sin is so much better than Gragas. Like, throw that argument out completely because Lee Sin's just going to punch him. And, of course, being an AD champion, going to scale much better with that. However, as the game gets on, the team fights break out. Lee Sin has to commit very hard. Is actually very flash reliant. You don't really think about Lee Sin that way because he has all the ward jumps and fancy things, but he is opportunistic in that case and does use his flash a lot, especially in flanks. So I want to see exactly how they can utilize the Lee Sin, because the thing about champions like Lee Sin, you say their skill ceiling is very high, but there's a lot of execution that goes in there, and we never play perfect League of Legends. No one plays perfect League of Legends. You can make an argument for Samsung White being able to do it for a tournament, but even that was only a Worlds tournament. Throughout the rest of the year, they weren't even able to put it together. So I think that it's very important that execution does come into League of Legends. And Gragas is much easier to execute with in a teamfight scenario than Lee Sin.
That's true. And we've already talked about the tournament format. Grueling almost, you have to say. Many long days here. Each team has to play each other team, so plenty of rounds, and then the playoffs on top of that if you make top 4. It's a long event. There's a lot of games to play, and there's only one slot awaiting at MSI, so I agree. Just pick a strong champion. Gragas is great, and if you have to play him 6 different times, that's much easier than having to play 6 Lee Sin games in a day.
Yeah, exactly right. And the thing about Gragas, he's always going to be relevant because of that ultimate. Lee Sin the same, but you have to wait for like that one opportunity. There's a certain point where Lee Sin just is a kick. Like the way we kind of tease Sivir, I guess, and say just hit ult and you're done. Lee Sin is that, but you have to look for the perfect kick. It's not like you speed your team up. You have to get someone into your team that isn't a huge priority, like a huge guy. Like if you're kicking Sion into the team, no one's going to care. They're probably actually going to be angrier at you.
Yeah, kick the Nari and it's like, well, that was a mistake.
Exactly right. So all of a sudden, like it's a lot harder to execute on these champions. Gragas, on the other hand, he's easy. You just peel, slap people with your belly.
I mean, as we're going to move away from the jungle and mid-match, it's actually going to go to the bottom lane now because Corki Lucian, to me, I feel like we started seeing more Lucian as a response to Corki being so popular.
Yeah, so Corki is a strange person because he has to push out with his phosphorus bombs early level because he doesn't trade exceptionally well unless you land auto attack, phosphorus bomb, auto attack. And you're exactly right. That's so hard to do on Lucian because what he does, he actually relentlessly pursues through it towards you, gets the Light Slinger, throws out his Q, then hits you again with the passive, and he's just shooting you a lot, and all of a sudden your main source of burst damage isn't there with Corki. So definitely agree that Lucian is that pseudo counter pick. It's very low range, and it's a skill-intensive matchup yet again, but as long as he has that relentless pursuit off cooldown, so he's able to use it, he's going to get the better of most trades.
Yeah, it could be a pretty fun bottom lane as well. We've got 2 different hook champions as well with the Nautilus and the Thresh. So somebody gets hooked and all of a sudden that difficult to line burst from Corki, much easier now that someone's been Thresh hooked.
Yeah, exactly right. So we'll have to see if they do go 2v2. Whenever I see a Thresh and a Nautilus, I like to think that the supports are looking for lane swaps because there's a reason Nautilus is so good in the lane swaps, and it's because he used to be a jungler. All of a sudden, if you got a level 3 Nautilus running around the map, he's going mid lane, he's going into the jungle, CCing people up. People are like, wow, Nautilus is so good at roaming. It's like, yeah, well, he was a jungler. Like, of course he's good at ganking other lanes. So as a Nautilus player, you can really get in there, try and help out. But Thresh kind of does the same thing. Flay is absolutely devastating early game. You get behind someone and flay them, it's such a huge slow and displacement that comes through. So I think that both supports would be looking to get busy.
Yeah, and there's actually a lot of roaming that we've seen from Thresh as well. Dumbledoge, actually, of course, else in this game, loves to get around and roam.
Yeah, exactly right. Dumbledore like packs up, leaves lanes, gets some good wards out, and then just goes and tries to gank other lanes. Also happy to team up with Theocles and see if he can make things happen at the same time. So I'll be interested to see how much pressure the support players put towards this mid lane. LeBlanc versus Ari, that's a highly volatile matchup. So if the one support player can catapult their mid laner ahead, that will do fantastic teams for whoever gets to do it. Yeah,
and of course our last matchup as well. While we still are in the pause, of course, waiting for things to resolve, but shouldn't be too much longer here. Rumble versus Nah here. Nah's been an interesting one. He's been changed quite a few times since he joined the league, but Minino especially, so annoying.
Yeah, he certainly is. And this is the thing. That's why I was confused by the Rumble pickup is Rumble's going to lose out in a 2v1. And he's going to lose out in the 1v1. So I don't know what a good lane swap looks like for INTZ right now. That's one big question mark over this game as they picked it up. But the fact that they went with the Rumble into a Nah is just really confusing.
Well, we'll have to see how it works out here as we are back into the game now. We can see level 1 action. Teams just spreading out fairly defensively, making sure to guard those early jungle entrances. But Beşiktaş on your left, the Turkish squad versus INTZ, the Brazilians, over on the red. And as we've said, it's an important game for both these teams. A loss apiece already for both these teams in the tournament, and you have to think they're both looking at the other team saying, hey, this could be one of our hardest matchups in the tournament.
Yeah, I definitely think so. As I mentioned, because INTZ comes up against Bangkok next game, they need to really win this one. This is a do-or-die moment for INTZ in the tournament. If they're going to carry over any momentum into what could be a playoffs push, they really need to take a game against Beşiktaş.
You can see Nadius already looking for the lane swap, but been spotted by a nicely placed ward there as well. So if they do want to swap back, you can see the recalls already, and INTZ sniffing it out early, going to go straight to the top lane.
Yeah, so they're actually looking for the 2v2, so they think Lucian beats Corki as well. So all of a sudden, beelining up into that lane, they want the 1v1 for Yang. Apparently, Doran's shield will be the pickup to make sure that he doesn't take too many auto-attack harasses. And Lee Sin, he's just going to look to solo out a buff.
Yeah, we'll have to look for Revolta, especially if some of these lanes, especially with the volatile mid lane matchup and the potential unfavored matchup in the bottom side for Rumble, Lee Sin has to get work done in this game, whether or not it's just keeping Theocles down, who does start on his grump and move into the blue with Thaldron helping out, or if it's just go in and gank these lanes. But Revolta needs to make plays early.
Yeah, and Thaldron, he sees the Rumble and teleports straight away. That automatically lights your eyes up if you're a Lee Sin player. You're like, you are willing to teleport into a lane with a Lee Sin on the map? Are you crazy? But we'll see exactly how it works out, whether an early gank does go down there as Mikau and Jockster already starting to zone out Nadius in this bottom lane.
Yeah, and I think the 2v2 probably optimal here for the inside. Now that they're in that dual lane, with the dual lanes in the top side of the map. Both of these supports are very good at roaming, but Lee Sin actually going to come through for a gank, it feels like, and First Blood does come through. Talkers and Lee Sin team up, and it is Revolta with the kill.
Yeah, and we mentioned Revolta and that he had to get busy. He did red buff, no other camp, and flew mid lane. They got the chain down and were able to pick up First Blood. That is absolutely massive. He's also helped shove out. That will make up for the fact he didn't do a second camp. Experience-wise, can just go straight to blue. And all of a sudden, Talkers, he's ahead in the lane.
Smart stuff here. So Revolta is going to look at his blue. Maybe not, actually. Level 3 already. Hasn't taken any other camps. Going to go for the Scuttle Crab now as well. So that extra experience with that kill helped out massively.
Yeah, but he actually might bump into Theocles in this river now, because Theocles, he's down there as well. And I like what Revolta did here, because as soon as you see an early gank, you're like, okay, I'm probably ahead of them in experience. They're going to go do their second buff. It does a lot of damage. I'm going to go counter their second buff because I already have both of my buffs. So by picking up the River Scuttler beforehand, gives you that permanent vision. He also warded over the wall, so he can see both routes that Gragas can take into his jungle. And all of a sudden, blue buff completely safe.
And the best thing that really puts the cherry on top of that whole wonderful path thing is that it's the safest camp to take away, and it's guaranteed experience and gold.
Yeah, exactly right. So it gives you all the experience in gold, keeps your jungle safe. You don't take any damage from it. Of course, unfortunately, Scuttle Crab doesn't fight back, the poor little guy, and will, in the end, works out absolutely huge for INTZ.
Really smart stuff, and he's already gone back, has a Revolta, got his Stalker's Blade and a Longsword, so look for some ganks to come through again. A potential revisit here for energy, but he's got pretty much the whole map opened up to him now.
Yeah, so goes the early game jungle item as well. Goes for the Stalker's Blade. He's got the Chilling Smite now, so he will be able to get in there and affect ganks a little bit better. I'm surprised we haven't seen the Skirmisher Saber, but he's back mid without even grabbing blue, wants another gank.
Yeah, really wants to go in. LeBlanc's going to come in, another chain lands for Tokka's. Revolta going to come in, and that's so much early game damage by Lee Sin, and he gets a second kill.
Yeah, so able to get in there, grab another kill because he'd blown the flash. The repeat gank was definitely on, and unfortunately for Energy, it's just going to be a repetitive camp now. Over and over again, Lee Sin will return to that lane because she's shoving out with a Q. And Tokka's is just on point with the chains.
Yeah, I mean, he's also keeping the wave in a nice spot as well. It's great synergy coming out in the early side here. Now, of course, going to push it out just a little bit more to keep it out from under the turret. But Lee Sin might even donate an early blue here. He's so far ahead already.
Yeah, he certainly is. He grabbed both of the kills. So if I'm Tokka's, I'm demanding the 5-minute blue buff coming across because otherwise it's going to be another 5 minutes before it responds. You don't want that one at 6. So he grabs the first one over there. That's going to put him even further ahead in lane. As soon as Ignite is back off cooldown, I think LeBlanc even has solo potential now.
I mean, she'll hit 6 soon as well, and Energy is pretty far behind in experience. So we talked about it being a volatile matchup. Revolta's come in and flip that around, and Theocles now might be the next target. Revolta lands in, does get the slow, moving the autos in as well. A good body slam might keep him safe, but Lee Sin just needs the Q once more. Very convenient ward hop there as well. Flash comes through, Revolta follows in, just misses the Q though, but Nautilus has come down. Theocles dodges it with a body slam, and they're still going here. They want more kills. A flash for Dumbledore on the top side. Nautilus will get grabbed up there, but now they might even tower divers. Ints trying to prep something up, looking again for the Gragas. They do find him there, does Revolta. Yang takes out Thaldron, and Lee Sin gets a third kill.
What the heck is going on? How does a Rumble beat a Nai in lane? That is absolutely bonkers. Yang didn't even have his ultimate. He's teleporting top. They're diving.
This is a massive dive now coming through for Ints. Ult goes down there. Dumbledore's in trouble. Macau going to look in for the kill. Nadia's hooked up as well. There's the first one for Corki actually as he gets Tokka's, but Yang takes out Dumbledore and Ints. 5-man push in the top side.
That is a 3-0 Rumble now coming across that has kept up in CS. Yang is absolutely massive in this game. It's being tipped on its head. 2,000 gold, the advantage at 6 minutes. Ints on fire.
And we talked about aggression here coming out from the Brazilians. This is intensely aggressive already in the first 7 minutes of the game. And I said it was going to be fun if both teams decided to go off, and the Brazilians are going off.
Yeah, they're going absolute mental. From Yang in the bottom lane with the kill that we missed, it was just a brush camp. He was able to sit in there, overheated, came out and just punched Na to death. Nah, had flash still available, just didn't choose to use it, Thaldron, and was made to pay.
And that's one of the biggest things, Rumble. When you underestimate his damage, especially while overheated, he will kill you. Absolutely will kill you.
100%. There was even a build, and it was a very long time ago, so it's a throwback, that was popularized by Voyboy, that was Gunblade Rumble. And it was for exactly that. You used to overheat and smack people in the face, and you just couldn't get away from him because he would shoot you with it as well. But his auto attack damage is absolutely mammoth when he overheats.
It's really high when he overheats, and he's actually now in the top side of the map. Feels confident at 3-0, and I would be too. He's even got a blue buff to add insult to injury, and he's going to happily 1v2 now in the top lane.
Yeah, so just looking to get in there, of course. The thing that we didn't talk about was Tokka's did fall, gave the kill across over onto Nadia. So that's where the blue buff came from, successfully transferred in the end. As we see, a Dragon started up nice and early from Revolta and Jockster.
And very aggressive, I have to say, with Rumble going back to the top side, but they know that 2 people are in the top lane for Beşiktaş. Feels pretty safe here. Yang, if he has to, can ult the wave if they get too aggressive, and that's going to be an easy first Dragon for Ints.
Yeah, well, you just don't want to turret dive a Rumble at this point in the game because of that ult, exactly what you mentioned. He's going to be able to farm out relatively well under there. That's the first thing you learn as a Rumble player, is how to last hit under turret. And they're actually even invading buffs now. Revolta feels like he has the complete jungle in his control.
Yeah, he's got the Warrior Enchantment up already, so very fast pace for that item. And we said we were expecting aggression from Lee Sin as Macau actually going to use the culling. That's massive damage onto Thaldron as Energy gets aggressed on. Macau dives in solo and gets the kill on Na.
And once again, Thaldron dies with flash up. That is absolutely crazy. The fact that you can get soloed out. He's gone the Hex Drinker, which of course isn't going to help at all, as maybe now Theocles is in trouble. He's going to get kicked.
Jock's not level 6, but Revolta does want to kick him back right into Tokka's with a wonderful chain, and LeBlanc scoops up the easiest kill of her life.
Yeah, that was just served on a silver platter pastry time. Tokka's all of a sudden is just loving this game. When you have a Lee Sin just going absolutely mental, giving you kill after kill, he's going to have a real good time. Has fallen behind in CS, but because of the 4 assists and now the kill, going to be dominant in this mid lane.
You can see the replay here as well, just this dive.
Yeah, so Nara at that point had the decision to flash sideways, and that would have just dodged out of the Q damage as we see ult drop to just pick up the CS in the top lane. Once again, didn't choose to burn the summoner spell and has been made to pay for it twice.
Yeah, it feels like twice that Nara maybe slightly underestimated the opponent's damage. And I like that you mentioned the Hex Drinker because that makes this lane swap back even smarter for ITZ.
Yeah, it certainly does. So able to get in there with the lane swap means that Macau has complete control over this lane. If it had been something along the lines of like double cloth armor instead of that Hex Drinker, he would be really strong right now, Nara, in the lane swap, but because he was against a Rumble, he went all in on that build and wasn't able to get anything done.
Revolta trying to weave a Q past a minion there, but Energy will escape that for now. Does have a Negatron Cloak, which won't help if Lee Sin comes visiting again, but Flash and Spirit Rush are available. Macau just going to go in, and Thaldron feels so unsafe at this point, with Nautilus returning as well, and a massive bit of burst is in the top side. Yang gets a bit aggressive, and Nadius takes him out.
Yeah, so that was really weird. Normally when you get... when you use your ultimate, you go back and shop. He must have done that because he has boots too. Then tried to get aggressive on Nadius. Dumbledore shows up, turns that one around, and in the end, it's going to be a kill over.
Yeah, nice hook going to set it up. So Beşiktaş fighting back with a few picks here and there, but the Brazilians just not stopping in their pushing here. Didn't get the tower from before, but Tokka's going in, dodges the charm, but Theocles is here as well. Smart distort to go back to there. Did not want to get taken out. And Nadius and Beşiktaş will be the first team to take a turret.
Yeah, they grab the turret, but all of a sudden, 3 members mid.
Yeah, bad news there as the turret in the bot goes down. Energy getting chased on Revolta, kicks Ari in the face, and Jockster just gets let out with the barrel. Now Tokka's going to dive back in. Misses the chain crucially, but flash forward there. Q's fly everywhere, and LeBlanc gets a second.
Yeah, LeBlanc nearly goes down to minions, but is able to get out. That's 2 kills coming across. 210 now as bottom turret also fell down to Macau. And INTZ are just doing everything right in this early game, using the Lee Sin, who's 4-0-4, by the way. Revolta is a beast to just control the entirety of the map.
And I think everyone has sort of been happy with the day's rest they've gotten after the first one. Definitely saw some upsets. Teams, I think, adjusting to, being at the tournament, kind of maybe getting some nerves off as well. Because just from the games we've had already today, every team looks much more fresh, much more crisp. And INTZ, this was the reason people were scared of them coming into the event.
Yeah, definitely pastry time is now we have a flank coming through from Yang. Transform probably going to keep him at bay, but Energy, you don't want to face check that brush. Talk to Thaldron about it. He can tell you all about the bad news story that presents for itself.
Yeah, Jocks are actually going to come through. Maybe going to use the ultimate here. No, doesn't have it, but a good dredge line. Nara in there as well. Now Energy and Dumbledore come through, but a wonderful equalizer. Q goes wide for Revolta, but Yang's here as well to clean it up.
Yeah, and I actually think that Thaldron jumped into the wall there. That's why he couldn't use the bounce to get out. Unfortunately, not able to get over that one. A little bit bigger of a hurdle than Mega Nara is used to, and in the end, it's another kill that goes across to INTZ, and they're in an absolute... They're in pole position for this game. All of a sudden, they've got a Rumble with 4-1-0. Dragons up in a minute and a half. You'll have the equalizer back available, and I don't know how Beşiktaş fight that.
Well, they have to really weather a storm here. 3,000 gold up already, and INTZ are not stopping the pressure. Only the one turret actually equal on that objective is probably the best news here so far in the early game for Beşiktaş, but you know that INTZ are looking for a few more picks, and they'll start pushing down turrets soon.
Yeah, exactly right, and they just have control over, I guess... They've got the double start zone on both teams, so a little bit better control can come out of Beşiktaş. You can say that their current vision control is really good, so props to them to be able to at least secure that part of their game plan. But the problem is that right now, Lee Sin is that massive that if you run into him, even if you have vision, it's going to be bad news for you. It's not really going to be bad news for Revolta.
I mean, it's bad news across the board, unfortunately. We just looked down some of the items here coming through for INTZ. Haunting Guys and the Sorceress, who's already done for Rumble. Now the Sightstone plus Warrior completed for Revolta. Is Thaldron going to be the next one to be caught out here? Tokka's looking in. Dumbledore will save him with a Lantern, so we'll be safe for now. But Dragon's back up in 30 seconds.
Yeah, so all of a sudden they force Nar back. It's going to be back here by the time Dragon's available because he has his teleport, but it gives complete vision control over to the INTZ lineup, and they've got Rumble in the top lane. He's also got Dragon available. A sneaky ward in the Dragon Pit will give them complete control over when that one is started. But Revolta, that's the second red buff he's stolen away, and he's just treating Theocles' jungle as his own.
Yeah, I mean, he owns this part of the jungle right now as well. Dragon back up now as well, but Revolta will have his smite back in about 10 seconds as that next charge comes through. Morello Nomicon here for LeBlanc. Infinity Edge already done for Lucian. Double Sidestone with plenty of good tools across the board. Ints needed to play an aggressive mid-game game to get themselves ahead, and they played an aggressive early game, and it's transferring already as Nadia's going to go in. Dumbledore's just misses getting knocked out there by Depth Charge, and Jockster may be caught out now, but Yang's come down as well. Equalizer ready to go. Maybe overheats with it there, but Thaldron gets cold there as Jockster gets credit for the kill. And around the Dragon, they'll start up 5v4.
Yeah, so they're able to get the pick. Tockers needs to be careful here. Gets charmed.
That's not good news. Theocles going in as well. LeBlanc has to get out of it. Jocker's coming through. Ultimate used there by Gragas, but it's not enough to kill him. Revolta kicks the jungler back in as Macau collects another kill that's been served up. Dumbledore's good hook lands onto Macau, but not afraid of energy despite the Ahri with the blue buff. And they even might go in as Macau has to be careful. Pops over the wall.
Yeah, and Energy actually didn't use a charge of the ultimate there as soon as the pick came through. There was no way that Tockers would have lived if Energy just committed to that. So in the end, a little bit of an outplay is going to mean another Dragon.
Looking for maybe a bit of a risky Dragon, but they do take it away. Now going to initiate Energy, going to pop the ulti. Macau going in so aggressive. Wants to kill onto Dumbledore, uses the heal. Might just live here, but the Ignite coming through. Energy trying to get in there, but good lock up there from Nautilus. And the Lucian does live. Dangerous game, a bit more health there as well. And very low on the side of Ints, but they get the kills and the Dragon.
Yeah, so they're able to pick up everything pastry time, and Beşiktaş just starting to fall apart. This is not the team we saw take out the Chiefs yesterday. Maybe a little bit of frustration even from the mid laner because he committed the ult very late in that fight and then dove extremely deep to try and pick up Macau. In the end, couldn't even get that kill. And really, INTZ had just taken over the whole map.
Yeah, the 6,000 gold ahead now at 16 minutes, and Beşiktaş basically just fighting for farm in different areas. Corki does have his Trinity Force. Energy just finished the Abyssal as well, but pretty much everyone else, and crucially, the big tanks here, the good scaling champions with the Gragas and the Gnar, well behind on their item timings right now.
Yeah, everyone is hugely behind. Look at Rumble, even 4-1 and 3, has a needlessly large rod. I don't even think Thaldron in a favorable lane matchup can go anywhere near Rumble right now, because if at any point he gets caught out with that equalizer, he's just going to burn to death on the spot, as we see. He's the same level as Lee Sin.
Yeah, I mean, Lee Sin's just gone off in this game, and Revolta's almost completed an Aegis now as well. Love the team-oriented build here coming through, and I think Sidestone's interesting for Lee Sin. We often talk about it as more of a utility item, as Tockers just gets a solo kill on the bottom side onto Paul Corki, and Ints, never mind the discussion, they're just going to keep pushing. Revolta flash kicks Thaldron in there, going to follow in the Q, tries to give it over to the Lucian, but can't quite find it as Energy going to get dove there. Jockster, little aggressive there, the box goes down as well, and Theocles going to come in. Good flash there from Nautilus, might keep him alive. Tries to dredge line away, but will go down. Revolta now going to get aggressed on, but so much damage on this Lee Sin. Macau dives in. Energy does get the credit for the kill on Nautilus, but Dumbledore's you better run because everyone's far too scary. As Equalizer comes through, Yang gets the snipe onto Gragas.
Yeah, now Tockers, he's actually in turret range, takes a cheeky turret shot. But if we go back to Revolta and the Lee Sin mechanics, he flash kicked there and was able to set up a really nice Q. One thing that a lot of people, I guess, don't really utilize in Lee Sin's kick is if when you ultimate someone, they travel in a straight line. It means if they hit a wall or while they're traveling, it's very easy to line up your Sonic Wave and subsequently your Resonating Strike because you can just throw it in a straight line. It becomes a straight line skill shot. No juke potential comes out there, and that's exactly how Revolta set that one up. Instead of going for the risky Q, flash kicks him, lines up his Q, able to get the kill.
Yeah, just following that CC, and wonderful performance so far. 7-0-7 on the Lee Sin, 14 out of 18 kills currently participated in. And when we talk about Revolta as a carry player for his team, this is the kind of performance we talk about.
Yeah, and we kind of said that he needed to step up, and props to him. Definitely listened, rose to the occasion, and all of a sudden, he's the person carrying his team to a huge early game advantage. Yang's kind of the other one, because you got to remember, he won his lane by himself, and as a Rumble player, that is just absolutely huge credit. Rumbles pride themselves on being able to do so much with so little, being able to just get some CS, go even, and then impact team fights. Being able to dominate a Gnar with Rumble is completely something else.
Yes, Thaldron will dodge the chains though as Inter invading onto the blue. Should go over to Tockers here as LeBlanc will look to pick that one up. Thaldron trying to entertain a steal here, but blue is gone now, and that's a steal away. Going over to LeBlanc. Is Revolta even going to take away the Grom?
Yeah, and that, wow.
Tockers in trouble, gets hooked up. up. Dumbledore's going to pick up the kill, and Jockster has to run away. Does clear Ord and Dredgeline to a bit of rock, but bit too aggressive maybe there from the Brazilians.
Yeah, definitely a little bit of a misplay. And when you're ahead like this, when one of your members dies, it's really important for the other team because they get some free farm that they wouldn't have normally got. You saw how much of the map Ints were controlling then, but all of a sudden, Nah gets to go push out a free wave in the mid. They'll just wave clear out. So that is a misplay coming through from Tokkers. The death actually costs his team, like, what, a minute and a half of not being able to pressure the map. Thank you very much for that phase 3 time. So what that means, they're so mid-game centric. And don't get me wrong, the scaling is still there for Beşiktaş, so the longer they can stall this one out, the better they are going to be.
Yeah, we'll have to see how they do, but right now, again, there's so much aggression coming through for ITZ. Yang on the Rumble, level 12 now, with Azonia's almost completed as well. Dragon back in a minute 20, but Rumble's starting to split push, and that is never a good sign.
Yeah, it certainly is, and if you can't go toe-to-toe with the Rumble, you've done something seriously wrong, and you see the 2,000 gold lead for Yang in that top lane. He's a monster. He's nearly got his double pen items as well as his Onias at 20 minutes, which is rapidly accelerated.
You can see Tokker's starting to push down as well. Ints just trying to take over the map as Nadia's fancies a duel here, and good burst there. The Trinity Force Buildwater Cutlass doing work here. Tokker's going to get the passive pot, will get away, but Nadia's holds his ground in the bottom.
Yeah, so they saw in the end that Jockster was coming down. Nadia's wasn't able to get that done. I would have liked to see him overextend for that one, actually, because trading at this point, if you are the star carrier on your team, at this point, Nadius, undoubtedly, you cannot argue that 90% of this game now rests on his shoulders to be able to get anything done. It's just really important. He's going for the Blade of the Ruined King build. I agree with his decision-making, going to be able to shred through a lot of these guys and needs the persistent damage. This isn't a Corki that's just going to be able to get a Q auto attack off and use his burst. He needs to be the consistent threat. Yeah,
wants to duel anyone here, and Blade does help out there when you pair it with the Trinity Force. We saw the culling used there by Macau as well, just trying to poke energy off because Dragon back up in 2 seconds now, and Ints are going to look for their third.
Yeah, they certainly are, and you've got the Rumble. He's split pushing, probably wants to join out his team. Jockster started that one off. They're looking for the pick in the mid lane before it, though.
Oh, Macau maybe going to get aggressive on Energy, throws in, has to dodge the charm. Good flash there, didn't need it, but wanted to be safe there. And Energy tried to mind game, but a little too much leading there on the charm.
Yeah, so wasn't able to get in there. That means that they will lose out on the Dragon. Instead, they're maybe going for a gank onto Yang. Will the steal come through from the big one?
Oh, Nadia's coming in. No, can't get it. Instead, actually going to get aggressed on Good Lance and keeps in the safety. Great hook as well. Flay plus box, but a massive kick by Revolta. And now Tokker's going to dive in. Revolta goes in as well, actually. Going to get the shutdown and the damage. Ridiculous there as the bonk does go down. But Corki, he's dead. Daldron almost as well. And Yang going off here on the Rumble. Doesn't have his ulti, though. That's a bit too deep, potentially. And ITZ might have bitten off a little too much. Tokker's, by the way, actually still alive. Called that one wrong earlier. And a 2-for-2 trade plus a Dragon for the Brazil team.
Yeah, so they come out ahead, but a lot of that was Theocles went walkabout. He tried to go top lane, then his team started a fight. Looked like they could win it, but he just wasn't there. It was a 4v5 in the end. Yang, the one thing we say about Nah is that in an ideal situation, he's the most impactful champion. He didn't have anywhere near the full Nah bar coming into that, wasn't able to use his ult, was pretty much ineffective as he came in. But a well-fought team fight for Beşiktaş means they at least go equal.
Yeah, I mean, that was very smart stuff there. Dumbledore especially making big plays on the Thresh, but they need that to happen a couple more times, you have to think, to keep themselves back in the game, because that gold lead's gotten a little bit shorter, but still pretty scary at about 6k ahead.
Yeah, it certainly has, and problem is that Dumbledore, he's the one grabbing majority of these kills. 3, 2, and 2. They would have loved some more gold coming over onto Corki. If he has a Blade of the Ruined King right now, all of a sudden he's looking a little bit more scary. As you've got the Wolf Spirit hanging out in the jungle.
It does spot them up, but Daldron going to get aggressed on Revolta. Does have the flash, maybe looks for a kick, but lands the Q and does not follow, especially with the Nah building up. Tokker's now with the death cap completed, going to rotate in over to the top side of the map, and we're going to start a 4-1 here with no teleport Rumble. Yang happily anchored in the bottom side.
Yeah, so he's continuing to split, and they've left him down there. Maybe they try and start a fight. They've got more members.
Maybe. I mean, if they can get a pick here. Actually, Daldron dives in aggressive, but now in Meganar form, can't find the initiation. INTZ will back off here, and Rumble going to get some free time alone with the turret. Rumble doesn't push all that quickly, but he's pretty fed at this point at 5-1 and 4, so he'll do a decent job.
Yeah, he still has some AP. We'll be able to get in there, and his auto attacks do a fair bit of work at the moment. Does Nadius go aggressive? No, just looking to clear it out.
Yeah, has to clear it away. Little too much to try and take on the Rumble head-to-head, especially given that Corki's fairly short range. A blue buff again will get stolen away here. I love that they're cutting it away from the barrel, and Tokkers just eats the buff there with his Mimic Distortion as Yang. He's got a pink ward. He's going for another brush camp.
Yeah, he certainly is. He seems to really like this. He's building up the heat, getting himself in the danger zone, and looking to see how much damage he can get done. In the end, backs away. Probably doesn't want to go head-to-head with Corki still at this point. Wow.
Daldrin may be caught. No ulti used there by Jockster. Just the calling out from Lucian for a little bit of poke. And INTZ might have to give this up. The Ockley is going to get aggressed on, but Tokkers does not want to chase the tanky Gregus out from under the turret. 3-1-1 here is the play apparently as Jockster gets CC'd up under turret. Great Null ultimate secures the kill for Thaldrin.
Yeah, and all of a sudden, Beşiktaş is actually starting to stall out this game relatively well. They're defending all 3 lanes. There's not really much turret damage going down. The Ockley needs to be careful that he doesn't get dove here, but they've done a great job of kind of putting a brakes on the INTZ lineup that was going mental.
Yeah, and the wave clear's been fine here. Ari, especially at this point, has decent wave clear as well. Gragas doing his job as well. Even Corki, actually, not too bad with the defensive wave clear. It's the Ockley's trying to ult somebody, but Revolta's already got a Banshee's Veil.
Yeah, so he has a Banshee's Veil. In the end, I think he could have committed a little bit further to that one. Had the flash available, probably could have broke the Banshee's Veil and got him back into the team. Had 3 members there himself, but they don't want to give up any more tower pressure. Macau going to be chased away now, and in the end, they're just happy to farm out for late.
And it seems like INTZ just going to be waiting between dragons, and we've seen quite a lot of teams do this. I certainly can't blame them given how strong having 5 dragons is, but certainly one of the best ways is to make sure you get the 4th and 5th is to continually apply pressure between them.
Yeah, exactly right. So they're just applying pressure, continually forcing out the waves. You saw that Theocles was the person picking up a lot of the farm. That's in their favor. Gragas with the farm definitely not going to do as much as, say, an Ari or a Nar in this situation. Still can use it, but not just as effectively. That's why we see him a lot more in the jungle at the moment. But now the pressure really is on, wow, Beşiktaş to be able to steal away either the Baron or the Dragon.
Yeah, dead there actually as Tokkers gets a kill there with the help of Lee Sin and Nautilus, and sitting on top of the Baron now, that's another threat that the Turkish have to worry about.
Yeah, and all of a sudden, face checking is a very big deal. They have to be able to get in there. There is no teleport on Yang. They would have that time, so if they can start a fight right now, it is technically a 4v4 over Baron.
This is an aggressive Baron started by INTZ. Jockster going to try and zone them away. Will clear some vision, but Corki get Poke going to come through. They will get the turret in the bottom side as Rumble takes out the bottom lane tier 2, but Yang building up some experience, very strong at this stage of the game, almost level 16 on his Rumble.
Yeah, he's real strong coming around there. He's had so much solo experience, and you can't say the same thing about Thaldrin, who's 3 levels behind. And you see the gold lead, 2,600 between top lane as they start up the Baron again. This time teleport will be available in a couple of seconds, but it still needs to be stopped.
Yeah, Yang spending his gold before he goes. He's got 2k banked up now as he heads back to the shop. We'll get some items. Wonder what he wants to go for. Void Staff completed now, so very strong stuff. But Beşiktaş just get them off the Baron and it'll reset once more.
Yeah, don't agree with the Void Staff pick up there. Probably should have gone for the Abyssal Scepter. There's not that much magic resistance built up and would really help out the LeBlanc who hasn't gone for it. If you have all that flat penetration, you get in there, able to help LeBlanc out on the backline, it's going to be nothing but a good thing. Instead goes for a selfish, cost-efficient item in his own right. Don't get me wrong, he does ridiculous amounts of damage, but he's still pretty susceptible to being burst down.
Yeah, I mean, does have the zone issue for a bit of safety, but if he gets caught out of position, could be in trouble. I guess my other thing is that Abyssal will also help him with the split push, which has been doing anyway for the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, exactly right. So should have been able to get in there as Thaldrin caught again.
Yeah, caught by a chain. The Revolta going in. That will be a kill given over to LeBlanc. Yes, does take it away. And Revolta gifting kills to his teammates. Now 7-1 and 10 on the Lee Sin as Jockster almost lands that hook, but does not follow in with the ultimate.
Yeah, so all of a sudden, 7-2-8. Tokkers is having a good game now as well after getting, I guess, catapulted ahead is a fair assumption from Revolta as they start up their 4th dragon of the game. probably we will be able to take this one down.
Yeah, need Yang though to teleport in. He's already porting in from behind, actually. He's going to look down, does pop in, and Tockers is flanking here as well. Revolta's already trying to find it. Energy gets ulted there by Nautilus. Hook lands in onto Dumbledore. Someone's going nuts. It's Tockers off the side, but Jockster taking a little too much damage as the Culling going to come in. Yang on the front line, going off with the Flames bit of damage, though. And there's the first kill onto Theocles. Nars going to TP his way back in. Dumbledore now is going to get chased down as he actually got a kill onto Nautilus, but Tockers will shut him down, and that's 2 kills for 1.
Yeah, so in the end, Thaldrin's TP was in the weirdest place I've ever seen. There is all these minions in the middle of the lane where the teleport is breaking out. You're the tank, and he teleports down to a ward in the middle of the jungle.
Jeez.
Tockers absolutely deletes Nardius, and INTZ doing everything right, but Beşiktaş just aren't playing brave enough to win the game.
I mean, they fell behind early, might, struggle, think they have to win some desperate team fights, but can't quite get it all together as a 4th Dragon comes through. 10,000 gold, effectively the lead now for the Brazilian side here, and Beşiktaş really have to hold on if they want to have any hope of taking this game.
Yeah, definitely. And, I had a conversation with Atlas yesterday, and it was, if you're going to stall out a game, you do one of 2 things. You either give up everything or you fight for everything. So if you're going to fight for everything, which is Beşiktaş's MO, you respect that, but commit to the fight. Thaldrin, get in the middle and do your job as a tank as well.
Energy, goodbye. Does get killed by the Mimic Sigil there. Jockster going to come in as well. Actually, maybe a little too much here, but pretty tanky on the Nautilus. Going to buy time. Thaldrin will get the kill, but Yang's going to join in here as well. No ultimate crucially available for the Rumble. That was almost a sick hook, by the way, onto that distortion. Predicts nicely, but doesn't quite get it.
Yeah, it certainly does. And Tockers, he's got so much damage at this point. Now picked up another needlessly large rod. Look at the damage difference. Nearly 4 items to 2 coming through there. But they are setting up for a brush camp. Can they get in?
It's 4v4 right now with the mid laner dead for the Turkish, and the Brazilian support currently down. Blue buff gets stolen again by the LeBlancers. Fortunately, Energy has not had a single one, it feels like, here in this game. Culling does go through. That's a bit out of position there for the Lucian, but should be safe to move away. And INTZ just going to roam and take the turret.
Yeah, turret going to go down tier 2. All of a sudden, Energy, he's packed up left, wants the bottom lane farm, got some red dot syndrome. Rest of the team probably was in a position to be able to collapse. Now can't because their mid lane is nowhere to be seen. And Beşiktaş look all out of sorts.
They do, and good rotation here from INTZ. Push the wave in, move Beşiktaş out of the mid lane back to the top side, and they're going to re-rotate in, clear out the blue, get the timer, and maybe even get onto the Baron.
Yeah, so they're looking to start Baron up here. They've got not bad control. They'll be able to sweep out the rest of the wards, and then from there, it's just a flat-out face check to be able to keep this objective.
Yeah, no sweepers yet, unfortunately, so a good ward in the Baron pit will give Beşiktaş vision, but INTZ get off it immediately. Don't bother waiting in for a brush. No, they have to continue being proactive, sorry. Blade of the Ruin King actually going to come through from Macau. Massive items across the board here, and Yang working on it a little late, but is going to go for that Abyssal Scepter next.
Yeah, it definitely looks like he's going to pick it up or something defensive, as once again, Tockers dives into the team, nearly takes out Dumbledore.
Yeah, not afraid at all here as the Thresh will just get away. Yang looking as well. Now level 16, so massive ulti damage if he can lay it down in a good spot. Jockster actually going to start a fight. He does ulti onto Theocles. Good charm by Energy will keep him safe, but Tockers diving in over the side. The tether still lands after the ultimate, and Jockster going to collect it.
Yeah, so they collect a kill on the jungle. That is the smite off the map pastry time. They'll just be able to start up this Baron, probably secure it. Although they're still baiting this one out.
Yeah, massive minion wave in the bottom side as well. We've seen such good side wave control from the Brazilians all tournament long. As Thaldrin gets hooked there as well. Yang going to come in for the damage. Energy looking for a pick, and Dumbledore finds her, but a good equalizer zones Energy away. Going to keep Jockster safe as his team takes out Nardius. Now another dredge line lands in. Macau going to come in for the damage. Absolutely ridiculous deeps coming through there for INTZ as they go 3-0.
Yeah, and do they start off the Baron? Wow, Energy looking for Tockers.
Tockers might just come back in and go for a kill. Does have his ultimate available. Yang going to chase in as well. Energy just dodging the harpoon, but Tockers going to come in, just misses that chain, and Energy's going to get the shutdown.
Yeah, so the chain misses. Energy turns around, hits him with the charm, and all of a sudden that Luden's echo damage just bursts him down. Really good outplay coming through for the mid laner, so maybe a little bit of confidence will rise, but in the end, wow.
Yeah, Thaldrin actually gets the kill into Jockster, who dies in a very awkward spot there in the top lane, but INTZ still confident with the Baron. Energy going to clear out the waves with that Luden's Echo Ari, but Macau, Revolta, and Yang not really afraid. Yang, though, too much Baron damage being tanked up, and that was a mistake.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, Thaldrin, I have to do it again. You are a Gnar, and there is a Rumble tanking the Baron. You have your ultimate available with Flash. Get in there. These are the opportunities they need to start sieging. But INTZ, they've started to, I guess, give up a couple of their advantages. They're starting to, I guess, get a little bit overzealous with how they're approaching the game. They need a secure vision around that Baron area. Definitely their next objective. Maybe even the Dragon, as they are able to pick up the mid lane turret, Beşiktaş. That's the 5th Dragon coming up. That's probably going to be their next objective, but it's 10,000 gold, and they're playing a little bit too recklessly.
I have to agree, Kieran. The tower even going down, there's good news for Beşiktaş. Opens up more room around the map. They've definitely got some potential. If they can get some picks and just keep stalling out the game, sure, it's 10,000 gold now. That's a massive deficit at 34 minutes in, given the state of the game with no dragons currently for the Turkish side. But they keep going. That gold lead's going to matter less and less, and they do have options here, especially with their big tank still scaling up.
Yeah, and that's what I want to hit on again. Once again, it's really only the Nautilus that's a huge tank here. Lee Sin's getting tankier, but he'll be more of a bruiser. And the thing is, with Yang going so offensive in his build, as well as the fact that LeBlanc hasn't got that Zhonya's Hourglass and there's no defensive item on Macau either, they do a heck of a lot of damage, as we just saw. But if any of them get caught, they die so quickly.
And that's what we've seen when charms land, when hooks come through for Dumbledore, the inside die, especially if they're scattered through the jungle perhaps and not all together. They have to maybe group together a little bit more, finish the game together as a team and look for their win conditions. They're going to look again for the Dragon. They've looked great around that objective all game long, but when it comes to maybe some of the rotations and the side wave control that was so clean even in their losses yesterday, maybe a little bit more of that for them here. Is they've certainly turned on the aggression, but maybe even lost some of their late game strength that we did see from them yesterday.
Yeah, they definitely have got a little bit reckless, but they'll be able to nearly take down a bottom lane turret very quickly. So you see the damage potential coming out from Tokas. He's an absolute monster right now, and we saw a very good piece of Ahri play coming out of Swiffer yesterday. Now Tokas stepping up with his, LeBlanc play, now stepping up with his own, and the 5th Dragon at spawn, they'll have to see where they get in.
Oh, Theocles going to get chunked out as well. Fairly tanky on the Gragas, but the damage is so high right now for the INTZ carries, and you can see Beşiktaş trying to get some vision around it, but INTZ, they don't care. They're going to go in here, and even if the steal does come through, INTZ is going to try and force a fight.
Yeah, exactly right. That's all they're trying to do. They've got the flank on LeBlanc. They need to get in there.
Yeah, they are going to go. The Dragon does come through. Will get taken by Revolta. Theocles dies in an instant there as the equalizer comes down. Thaldron gets hooked away. Nadia's almost dies to the culling as Tokas takes him out for the double. Energy going to get dove now as well as Dumbledore is forced to flush away. 3-0 already in the 5 Dragons. Instant complete control.
Yeah, they certainly are. As we see Dumbledore, he's fleeing for his life. Tokas just trying to take him out.
Yeah, just needs to wait for a few more blinks. Mimics on top of his face with the distortion and takes him out in one fell swoop. It's not going to get on the Baron. This will die so fast, even with only 4 people there. And at this point, they can just push down the middle and try and end the game.
Yeah, so that's all they're going to do. They've got the 5th Dragon. They've got the Baron. No point even buying. Just get in there, take out the turrets. There is nothing the opposition can do. And Macau, he's going to shred these.
Yeah, goodbye turrets. Doesn't even proc his passive once. Just shoots it a couple of times and it dies here. Now going to move in. Baron up minions will help. Energy going to get aggressed on. Damage is ridiculous from Lucian, and a reckless dive, but he survives once again.
Yeah, so he goes in deep pretty much by himself. Macau picks up a kill even with the turret on him. They're going to grab everything.
Oh, they can't fight here. Nadius gets destroyed by the Rumble, actually, as the damage comes through for both of the AP carries. Toka's going to dive back in. Theocles gets 2-shot there by a LeBlanc combo. Thaldron maybe next. No, INTZ instead. Just going to take the bottom side inhibitor. Equalizer going to come down. They will dive past this Nexus towards the fountain. Dockstick actually gets flayed into the fountain. Good play there by Dumbledore, but 4 kills down. Macau tanking turrets all day long, and INTZ, what a play.
INTZ are able to do it. They grabbed the first of 2 very important games, and they did it in pretty stylish fashion.
That was style indeed. They're a massive gold lead of almost 20,000 towards the game ends. And Revolta, we talked about him. Where are your carry junglers? Where's your aggression? Well, we found it here. It's just in the last game.
Yeah, we certainly did. He went berserk. That was one of the most impressive Lee Sin plays we've seen, and he did it on the international stage. The level 2 gank after his red buff, got the whole game started, was able to catapult Tokas ahead. And wow, if I'm playing mid lane, I want that guy on my team.
Yeah, that guy's really good at ganking for the mid lane. The energy on the Ahri, not that safe before 6, and one flash got blown and it just went well and truly downhill from there.
Yeah, and it was a return gank. You know, he got rid of the summoner spell in the key lane, the one that we said was most crucial to take over the map. Got his assassin ahead, and they were just able to repetitively bully. It opened up Dragon. Yang was the other one. That 1v1 opened up the reverse lane swap to come back through as well. So, yeah, credit to a lot of the INTZ lineup, but it was started by Revolta and Yang.
It was. I mean, Yang kind of on a solo mission there. Revolta definitely bringing his team up in the early stages. And once, you know, a few players got aggressive, it felt like the entire team came together. Macau was diving turrets literally for 30 minutes or however long that game was. Just didn't stop throughout the entire game there. And that aggression paid off for them. They snowballed a massive lead and just took over the game.
Yeah, it certainly did. And look, they turned their solo kills into meaningful objectives. You saw Yang got the kill in the bottom lane, ding 6 off it, and all of a sudden, TP top and picked up a triple kill in the end for himself. It's just little things like that. You start losing a lane, and then it catapults the rest of the map ahead. You snowball it into other parts of the map, and that's what they were able to do really successfully. And Beşiktaş, normally the strong laning pick team, wasn't able to get any of that going.
And I feel like when we've seen Beşiktaş lose games, it's certainly been when they just don't have as much momentum, when they don't have control of the kind of the earlier state of the game, or just able to get ahead in the mid game and snowball away. There's going to be a lot of battle of the snowballing you have to think going to come through. And in that game when Beşiktaş couldn't find any momentum, Brazil just took it all away from them.
Yeah, exactly right. And they took everything, including the dragons, away. And it led to a huge last dragon team fight where they forced Beşiktaş to come to them. I think we have the replay that can come up. And as you see, with the 4-dragon threat, there's no choice for Beşiktaş. They have to fight this team fight. Otherwise, they give away the game. And you see, this fight is set up with the really fed assassin flanking. And if we roll this one out, you see that able to dive into the back. They start up the fight. They take away the dragon. They have to overcommit, and all of a sudden, Tokas just deletes a member before the fight even comes through. Everyone else then comes through and cleans up the rest of the fight, but they did it with good positioning. And the fact that Tokas was able to remove a threat off the map before every fight started just meant that INTZ were never in trouble of losing any part of the map.
No, and I actually missed it in the replay there, but Tokas managed, Revolta managed to land that Q onto Corki. Didn't get the kill because Dumbledore flayed him out of it, which was pretty sick stuff. And, I mean, certainly if we're going to highlight a player on the Turkish side, it was Dumbledore again on the Thresh, making big plays. But big plays only count for so much when you're that far behind. And INTZ, as a team, with, you know, Yang and Revolta leading the charge, just what a dominating performance from them.
Yeah, exactly right. And look, Dumbledore, he still had a pretty good performance coming through. Wasn't able to get around the map as much because he was made accountable by the whole INTZ lineup. But he did take a couple of really critical early kills that I think would have been better served on other carries. It's very hard to not do when you're playing someone like a Thresh. That Flay auto attack just does ridiculous amounts of damage early on in the game. But maybe gold prioritization wasn't that good. But I do want to hit on Beşiktaş and what you were saying. It didn't look like their game plan was unlocked because I don't know how well these guys play from behind. Every single time we've seen them be successful, it's when they get that early lead and are able to set up good vision control. Even when they fell behind, you saw that their vision control around Dragon was very good. They play with vision and lack of vision, more importantly, very well. It just seems when they're behind and they can't set up those pick situations, they don't have the good team fight shot calling to really make the calls that count to get them in a position to claw back into games.
Yeah, and we saw again, INTZ in their losses, still with strong warding and great sidewave control, particularly actually against the Chiefs in their loss yesterday. But when they're ahead, Jesus, this team's scary. That was ridiculous.
Yeah, and the thing is, INTZ repetitively pulling the trigger actually gave Beşiktaş certain windows into the game. They were in the jungle a lot. That first started up Baron is the thing that really stood out to me. There was a rumble on very low health that if I think Beşiktaş had just pulled the trigger with their 2 members and gone in and fought, they probably would have taken the fight just because of how much work Baron was doing to the members. But because they weren't willing to make the brave calls, they're very, very conservative about how they play around vision. They just didn't have a window back in. So if any other teams are watching this, they just need to make sure that they capitalize strong on the early game. And then that way, I think that you can actually snowball against the Turkish lineup.
Yeah, and I wonder if INTZ are going to continue this aggression because they've sort of played a bit more standard, certainly played like a lot of mid-game with a bit more late-game emphasis. You like very typical comps that we've seen so far in the tournament. But that's the first Lee Sin, I believe, of the tournament being just pulled out by Revolta against Gragas. And I have to wonder if he's going to keep doing it because we talked about it. You can pick on Gragas as a jungler early on despite how safe he is. And Revolta just made it work wonderfully.
Yeah, exactly right. You just jungle so much quicker than him. Sometimes it comes down to jungle speed. Yeah.
Well, we do have an interview though. We'll ship it over to the players.
Dominated the early game and then it turned into a snowball effect. Did you practice any special strategy against Beşiktaş?
We have different ways to play against every team in this tournament. We hadn't had time to discuss this during the fly, but yesterday we had a talk and we set up like what we're gonna do against every team. We studied them, and yeah, we had a strategy against them.
So your performance was really good. Can we say that INTZ is back?
Yes, definitely. We are not completely back. We still have a few hours to sleep, but yeah, we had a good night. We kind of like relaxed it and didn't like get nervous about the game we had yesterday. So yeah, we're kind of back.
So can you please tell us about your team structure, who made the calls and stuff like that?
Everybody talks. Everybody like gives their opinion of what to do and when to do. But the last word is mine and Jockster's.
So was the two-level gang to meet was a part of your strategy for LeBlanc?
Not really. We saw, me and Talkers, we talked, and if she played aggressive 11-1, a lot of Aries does play aggressive 11-1. I could have ganked mid, and she played really aggressive and also pushed the wave, and then we were like, okay, we can gank her, we can kill her.
So thank you for the interview. Now we're back to Zenit.
And smart stuff there coming through from the Brazilian jungler. Really, really clever there on the first gank.
Yeah, so he just said it was all about Ari pushing out the wave, and that's a good way to look at it. Ari very recklessly throws out the Q level 1. I think a lot of Ari players, when the movement speed buff came through, kind of feel invincible pre-6 because of how quickly she is able to run away, and in the end was made to pay.
Yeah, great stuff there, but a win, big win for the Brazilians over the Turkish side. We'll put them back in a better favor here for day 2, but we do have more games, so don't go too far away. We're going to go straight into the Chiefs. They'll be back next game. Don't go too far as more coverage continues for the international.